Hey guys, today I want to talk about regret. It's a big thing and I see a lot of it in different contexts at the moment in my life. I'm around people of all different ages. I'm in my mid-50s, and so this diary of a mid-50s woman wants to talk about some of the things that I see, some of the things that I know now because I'm in my mid-50s that I didn't know perhaps when I was in my 20s, 30s or even my 40s. And I also want to talk about it in context of my life and how I've decided just before I turned 50 that I'm not living with regret. Right, so we can sideline things in our life because we don't want to run the risk of embarrassing ourselves. We don't want to fail. Sometimes we don't want to succeed. Sometimes success is scary because if we've never succeeded the last 49 times we did stuff and the 50th time we succeed, holy shit, what's that going to look like, right? We can not do so many things because of the scenarios we run through our head. But quite often the scenarios that run through our head are only the possibilities that we've seen previously, right? Because our brain is a record keeper. It can't talk to you about the future things it hasn't seen because it doesn't know what they are, right? And so we can quite often invent things, invent problems, invent stuff. I hope that heater's not going to be annoying, but I'm not going to stop because this message is too important. So, in fact, I will. I'll turn it down. How's that? So, it's real life here. Like, I'm not buttering shit up. I'm not caking myself in makeup and pretending I have the perfect life because I don't. But I want to share some stuff with you that might help you have less problems, less regrets, less whatevers in your life, right? And so we quite often don't do stuff because we are recycling all the old things that have happened from that thing, right? We can recycle what happened last time. We can recycle it by thinking back to what happened when we put our hand up and got the answer wrong in 3rd grade or 7th grade, or when we, got on stage and did that big performance and got booed off, or got up and did a great thing and then everyone said, yay, that was awesome, and then behind your back talked shit about what you did and didn't back you, or the times you've stood up and everyone said, I'll stand with you, and then you've turned around and looked around and nobody's standing there, right? So you can have all that stuff, that garbage stuff that happened in those particular times in your brain, heading back there as, under the file of previous things that have gone to shit, right? And then when you're starting to think, I want to try something new, your brain will go back to that thing to tell you all the stuff that happened and all the ways that it could happen, and it'll give it to you in the context of whatever you're going to do now, right? But it'll come back to those things that happened to you years ago or last year or whenever, the last time you tried to step out of your bubble. And it will give you those sorts of things and it will make you stop. But people talk about death regrets and regrets on your deathbed and regrets of things like that. I see a lot of people now play the what if game in their 50s. What if? What if I had done that? What if I had done that? What if I had done that? And we can play those games, but we'll never know, because if we had have done that when we did it, we wouldn't be where we are now, right? We would not be. There is no way. If you step on a different path at any point in your life or change one thing of your past, you aren't here now as you are, right? With the knowledge you have, with the skills you have, with the, sometimes the mistakes you have. Sometimes that's what builds you, right? That's what gives you the skills you've got now to be able to perhaps help others or see something that others can't see. So I decided just before 50 to get rid of any regrets I had, and I didn't have a lot because I'm just like, I can't change stuff that I've done, right? I can't change stuff that I've done, right? And so my biggest thing is, do not go back and critique your 15, 16, 17-year-old, 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old, last week-year-old self with the knowledge that you've got now. You can't go back and critique on that, right? That's where these regrets and things like that stick, because you think, oh, it probably would have been better, it might have been better. Who knows? You might have taken that path and you mightn't even be here today, right? For whatever reason. It could have put you somewhere else. You could have got hit by a bus in that life. Like, I'm just saying it like it is, right? So stop with the regrets, right? If you really want to know, right, in your life, how something is going to play out for you, then just fucking do it, right? Lock yourself in, Eddie. Lock it in, Eddie. I keep quoting that in all my videos lately. I'm in Australia. There was a show called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And the host was Eddie Maguire. And when he'd ask you, you'd come down to your time and you had to lock an answer in, and he'd ask, lock it in, and they'd say, lock it in, Eddie, right? So you need to lock in, right? These people were locking in answers they thought were right on this show. And, everything's talked up and it's great. And then, on national television, they were getting things wrong that they probably would have got right in their lounge room, right? But they went out there and they gave it a red hot crack and they locked it in. You've got to lock it in. You've got to put your blinders on sometimes to get yourself started so that you're not looking to the side at all the people who are saying, what are you doing? That's a really big mistake. Don't you want to stay here with us? Don't you, you know? And people will reflect back to you in their comments their own fears around that for themselves, right? Because usually anyone who doesn't have any experience in what you're having will have that reaction. People, however, who have stepped out, fallen flat on their face, done stuff, put the blinders on themselves, anyone who has already done what you're trying to do in whatever form that is will encourage you because they know that you don't die. You just get back up, right? Don't die with these. Don't have this big list of regrets. If you want to know what it's like to move to that area, move to that area. If you want to leave your job, do some research, find out what you want to try and go and try that thing. Don't just sit in a dead-end job. Don't just sit in a dead-end relationship. Don't just stay in that town because, it's all too hard and every time I've tried to do stuff, it hasn't worked. There are many other ways that you can lock this in, right? But I'm just giving some examples of things that I've lived through, some stuff that I know now that I didn't know then, is sometimes it's timing. Sometimes it won't work, but you won't know unless you try. I want to encourage you to try, right? I'm in my mid-50s now. I'm about to try a whole heap of stuff that in my 30s and 20s I poo-pooed all over and said was wrong and stupid and, oh my gosh, people who do that are dumb or are this or are that or who do they think they are? I've said all that about people and now I'm here and I'm like, well, I know who I am at 55, nearly 55. So I'm not worried about people questioning who I am, right? I'm discovering myself now. I'm discovering myself as a person in their mid-50s who doesn't have little kids to look after anymore, who doesn't have a mortgage and car loans and school fees and 50 sports with 4 people playing to get them to here, there and everywhere. I don't have meals to juggle. I don't have meal times to keep to because someone's got work and someone's got sport and someone's night shift and someone's afternoon shift and what. I don't have all that, right? I'm in this space now where I can actually explore what life could be for me now, what I could try, what I could do. This is the least amount I've had people relying on me in a long time. And so if I don't use that wisely now in the years where I'm still quite young and quite fit and quite active and quite of sound mind and able and all of those things, if I don't do that now in these next 5-10 years, in 10 years' time I don't want to be sitting at 65 regretting the fact that I didn't try those things, right? So I've just made this video to encourage you. I've made this channel to encourage people to just explore what being themselves means. It might mean that you have to make hard decisions or big decisions or decisions that 12 months ago you wouldn't have made, or, like I said, decisions that other people have made in your past, you've watched them make and you've poo-pooed all over it and pointed the finger and said how dumb they were and talked behind their back about them. And now you realise, wow, I'm in their shoes. I couldn't see it from their point of view. I saw it from my wounds, from my lens, from my restrictions, from my point of life. But now that I can see it from their point of life, wow, that's a whole different thing. Just accept that. Acceptance. Accept that. Accept that you've made mistakes. Accept that you've done shit wrong. But you've done shit, right? Don't not do shit just so that you can't get stuff, just because you're scared of getting stuff wrong or making a bad choice. And on that choices, if you make a choice and it isn't the right one for you, guess what? At any point, you're free to choose again. You may not be free from what has brought you to that point. You might have some things that you need to deal with to be able to move forward in it, but you can choose again, right? It's just that we don't want to make hard decisions. We don't want to make decisions these days where we don't know the outcome. We want to lock into stuff and lock in the next 10 steps to something that we've never done before. How can you know what those 10 steps are, right? How can you know what those 10 steps are if you've never done the thing before, if you've never seen anybody do the thing before? I'm encouraging you to read about people who have turned their life around. I want you to find, research, dig into the fact that there can be post-traumatic growth, right? And how that looks in real time, in real life for real people who have had horrific atrocities, is that the word, happen to them, but they have thrived through that and become somebody who encourages other people. find real life stories and real life people who are real, right? Who don't just talk about all the dressed up stuff and all the things, but will tell you, you know, I fell flat on my face 49 times, 50 times, the 51st time. I used all of the things that I had done wrong and thought, well, it's obviously none of those. And the 51st time I tried something else different or a different combination, and that was the one, right? Use that. Life is here for living. We are here to live. We're here to explore. We're here to have an expansion, right? And living someone else's idea of your life is not expansive. Living a life that you watched your parents live or your sister live or your brother live or your friends live or your small town buddies live or whatever, I don't know, to me that doesn't sound exciting. What is it that makes it exciting for you? What gets you out of bed in the morning? What makes you want to go to bed tonight and have the best night's sleep ever because tomorrow morning when you get up, you're going to try it, right? Life can feel like Christmas morning a lot more than just Christmas morning, but we have to get into the mindset of that. We have to get brave. We have to give ourselves and others grace. And sometimes we have to put the blinders on and lock into our own dreams and beliefs and walk them out only with the first step in front of us, right, that we can see. We can't see beyond that. But I remember, and I'm being shown now because I channel, lighting up down a walkway with a child who is going to the toilet in the middle of the night. And their parents have put in lights that go across both sides up from their bedroom to the toilet. And as you walk the path, those lights come on, right? And then they stay on for a certain amount of time so that you don't get scared, so you can see your way, so you don't have to turn on the big lights, right? We need to get brave and start to do that. Let's take the step. Let's take the step and wait for the next lights to light up to tell us what it is that we can choose from next. Take that next step. Try something. Don't really like that. Right, well, what are the options for me now? Right? Imagine living from that place, right? I'm trying to live from that place now in the last part of my 50s, and I'm committing that to myself that I'm going to do that because I want it to feel like Christmas morning, a lot more than just Christmas morning. Hope this is helpful. If you've liked this sort of content, please subscribe. If you think this can help uplift, I don't know, just make someone else feel less alone, please share it with them. And I'm going to come on with plenty more of these sorts of just random thoughts of a 50-something woman who is having light bulb moments every day and feeling the most joy she's ever felt, because I know that I won't have regrets because I'm going to try the stuff that I want to try. Okay, love you.